I'm a total gold-making noob, and this is me, Goblin, a gnome locked in Dun Morogh, who can't leave until he earns enough gold for a WoW token. His dream? Transforming into a goblin, in form and in skill. Can he pull it off, or will he be stuck forever? Let's find out. I've been playing WoW for years, and I just came back from some time away. But I know the raids, the dungeons, the classes, but there's one thing I've never been good at, making gold. I'm terrible at it, so I'm forcing myself to learn, the hard way. Full credit for this insane concept goes to Patholyrics. I saw his challenge and thought it would be interesting to see if someone with no gold making experience could accomplish it. So shout out to him. This is Dun Morogh, the starting zone for dwarves and gnomes, and I'm not allowed to leave, not until I can somehow figure out how to turn this zone's resources into a WoW token, on a EU service that is currently sitting at 390,000 gold. The rules are the following. I can only use the auction house to sell. I can only use items I have purchased on this character, excluding a flying mount. Skyriding and flying get unlocked at level 20. When we buy a token, we will spin a wheel for the next zone. The wheel will also include capital cities we have access to in order to give us more zone options. I can only use a capital for the auction house and the bank until the wheel lands on that capital. This is a journey about tackling the one part of WoW I've always sucked at, in the most restrictive way possible. If I fail, me Goblin is stuck here forever. This is a test to see if a noob goldmaker can build an empire from nothing. First things first, character creation. I had already decided on a gnome, mostly because I wanted to be small, but for the class I wanted to randomize the experience to make it a true challenge, so I spun a wheel. It landed on Hunter, which I wasn't too happy about. Whether it's good for gold making or not, I have no clue. With that accomplished, I entered the world and began by bolting out of the starting area and making the trek to Keranos to pick up my professions. I was going for the classic gold making combo of mining and herbalism to get some quick gold to set me up, but when I got to the trainer, I was greeted with a big fat no. In my excitement, I had completely forgotten you need to be level 5 to learn professions. I was level 1. So with my tail between my legs, I turned back to the wilderness, my only option to commit mass genocide against the local wildlife. For the next hour, I slaughtered every boar, wolf and wendigo I could find until I finally hit level 5.
Ei menina, mostra o teu poder, desliza no beat, faz acontecer. O mundo gira ao teu redor, com esse swing, tu é maior. Mexe, remexe sem parar, essa energia vai te levar. Chão tremendo, todo mundo dançar, é um baile que nunca vai acabar. Sobe o clima, sente o calor, requebra no ritmo, sente o amor. Vem no flow, não pode negar, essa vibe é nossa, pode acreditar. Mexe, remexe sem parar, essa energia vai te levar. Chão tremendo, todo mundo dançar, é um baile que nunca vai acabar.
Now I could finally start. I learned my professions and my plan was simple. I was going to farm all the copper and herbs I could find, then sell them on the auction house in Ironforge. I spent the first hour running laps around Dun Morogh, my eyes glued to the minimap, searching for every scrap I could find while also testing what the rares might drop. It was monotonous, but seeing my bag slowly fill up gave me a sliver of hope. After that first hour of dedicated farming, I listed everything on the auction house. The copper and herbs sold relatively fast, and just like that, I had my first significant victory, about 1,000 gold. It was a drop in the bucket compared to the final goal, but it was enough for the single most important upgrade I could get right now, a mount. A mount would mean faster travel between nodes, which meant more mats per hour. I ran straight to the mount vendor, and while there were a few choices, my decision was easy. I bought the blue Mechano Strider, mostly because I just like the color blue. With my new ride, the long road ahead suddenly felt a little bit shorter.
No way.
My new mount was a blessing and a curse. I was zipping between ores and herbs faster than ever, but this new speed created a frustrating problem. I had nowhere to put anything.
Inventory is full.
My tiny backpack was filling up in minutes. I was spending more time running to the auction house or deleting trash than I was actually farming. Every few minutes, I'd face the decision of destroying items just to have one slot free for any potential big-ticket items, as I hadn't done any research as of yet. It was maddening. My efficiency was plummeting because my inventory had become a constant, stressful game of higher or lower. I needed an upgrade, and fast. I set my sights on a full set of linen bags. They aren't the best, but they are a massive upgrade, and the best I could hope to make. The only problem was that they would take a lot of linen to make. So it was back to the grind. More laps, more ore, more herbs, but this time, every run was a frantic race against my own inventory. By the time I finished, I had unfortunately forgotten all about making the bags. With no bags, the process was still frustrating, but as I was getting into my groove, I realized that only farming herbs and ore wouldn't make me much gold, so I started looking into the crafting professions, and a noob problem became clear. I would need a lot more mats if I wanted to make more money crafting, which I definitely didn't have the bag space for. So in order to start crafting, I thought I'd start small. I put every item that wasn't needed on the auction house and dropped herbalism to learn engineering. I made some rough blasting powder as well as handfuls of copper bolts. This felt like a major shift in strategy. I was no longer just a supplier of raw materials, I was moving up the supply chain, casting a bigger shadow over the auction house little by little. I knew this would bring in some more gold bit by bit, so with that in mind, I got myself a trusty hammer and smacked away at my ore. The bolts to powder the ores and the herbs provided a steady, if slow, stream of income, but slow wasn't going to get me to a WoW token before I lose my mind. So I realized that if I wanted to make some serious progress, I couldn't just rely on grinding out raw materials and basic crafts. I needed the jackpot. I needed to find the big ticket items. My new plan was to pivot from farming materials to farming rares. I started researching valuable items that could be found right here in Dun Morogh. The zone has some rare creatures that have a tiny chance to drop a few valuable transmog items. I'm talking about items like the Foreman's Vest and the Foreman's Pants from Gibblewilt, the Frostmane Scepter from Great Father Arcticus, the Light Magesmith Robe, which is a zone drop, the Black Bearhide Vest from Bjarn, the Wendigo Collar from Old Icebeard, the White Wolf Gloves from Timber, and the Ice Pain Warhammer from Hammerspine. This added a whole new dimension to the challenge. The plan was no longer just about the slow and steady grind, it was now also a shot in the dark. And as a hunter, that's exactly what I was looking for. Hunting rares sounded great in theory, but there was one massive problem I'd been ignoring. As I leveled up, wearing the starter gear meant that mobs were taking ages to kill, and if multiple attacked me, I would need all my cooldowns to survive. This meant every fight was a struggle. It didn't help that I spec'd into marksmanship, but hey, can you blame me? It's probably the only hunter spec I enjoy. My gold per hour was plummeting. Fights that should have taken seconds were stretching into minute-long ordeals. I could barely handle a single rare, let alone if they were next to a bunch of mobs. This was a major inconvenience. I was trapped in a loop. I needed better gear to kill things faster, to craft myself gear, but I couldn't kill enough mobs to craft the gear. I was stuck. That gear wall nearly broke me. There was no magic solution. The only way forward was through pure stubborn persistence. I spent hours slowly selling copper bolts, copper and herbs to eat into the price of a WoW token. It felt like a small victory, but I was hoping for more. Killing rares and farming in between, I finally hit a major milestone, level 20. This was huge. As per my rules, I could now fly. For anyone wondering why I decided on 20, it's because that's when steady flying gets unlocked on retail. I could have flown at 10, but I thought it would be better if I didn't do so till 20. I also excluded flying mounts from the personal items list only because there are no vendors selling flying mounts in the area. Once we unlock Stormwind, I will be buying the mount I use for flying currently. In a challenge all about efficiency, this was a game changer. Soaring above the snow at a searing pace felt incredible. The path between each node shrank. I started covering more ground and making more gold per hour than ever before. My empire might still be small, but it was finally gaining momentum. As I am writing this, I noticed a massive mistake I made. I was running through Kernos on my main, a town I've passed through hundreds of times, and I noticed a general goods vendor. I must have seen him before, but I had been so focused on the gold that I never once stopped to notice that he sold 8 slot bags for only 24 silver. I could have bought them after the first hour of farming, so I bought 4 on the spot, filling all my bag slots in one go. The immediate relief is mixed with the profound embarrassment of a rookie mistake. And that feels like the perfect place to end this first episode. So let's see how much we've made over the course of this episode. Our mailbox has 3,000 gold in it. We opened it on one other occasion to buy the Mechano Strider. That time it had 1,000. We had some sales of the copper bolts, the copper bars, the copper ores, as well as the herbs, and some other bits and bobs here and there. But none of the transmog items have sold as of yet. So with that, the foundation is laid, but the path to WoW token is still a long one. So where does that leave us? I have 3,845 gold as of right now. I can fly, and I have bags that are, well, they're better than nothing. The biggest lesson so far hasn't been about making gold, but about how anyone can make the most basic of mistakes. I'm still a long way from a WoW token. The easy part is over. Now I have to turn this shaky start into a real gold making machine. Can I make a WoW token? Will the rares finally pay off, or will I be stuck farming forever? If you have any advice for me, please let me know in the comments down below, next to a simple blunder you have made. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like and subscribe, because the road ahead is long, and I'm not giving up just yet. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.